Greetings, everyone, to the Adrian Pius show. We are getting ready to embark on a very special show because, as my understanding is that we now have a rival. We have someone else on the Vox waves challenging the truth that the patented Adrian Pius truth that has served the Imperium for decades, no doubt. Apparently, there's a rival fellow by the name of Cyrus Amani. And if that name sounds unimpressive to you, it should be because, quite frankly, what he's pandering, what nonsense he's saying is just a bunch of soft-hearted nonsense, a bunch of radical thinking, soft-hearted nonsense that's just gonna lead the Imperium down a path of weakness. It seems like we've got a few people in here, and I'm just warming up here. Those of you that are arriving, you haven't missed too much of anything. I'm going to talk about the so-called Cyrus Amani and the various accusations that surround that name in a little while. But we got a few folks online. Pat has the lines hot, and he's ready to start receiving you. But we're going to go over how we do things here on the Adrian Pius show. You all, my lovely listeners who hear the truth as it spreads across the Imperium on this Voxcast, you all know how things are, but perhaps we have some new listeners, and I'm gonna lay things out for you. What we do is we here at the Adrian Pius show want to keep the lights on and the Vox waves hopping. And the way we do that is if you donate to us, then we will take your question live on the air. And I will lay down some good old-fashioned Adrian Pius truth to allay any sort of confusion that may linger in the minds of my listeners. But today we're going to be talking about a number of things. The so-called rival Voxcast of Cyrus Amani, which not impressed, my listeners, not impressed at all. But we'll talk about him short. I also want to talk about the situation on Vigilis, the situation of protecting that important system as part of the Nockmoon Gauntlet, a rare, narrow trade corridor between the Imperium Sanctus and the Imperium Nihilus. And, of course, very important for all you Cyrus Amani fans, that's where we get all of those wonderful, wonderful refugees that you just have to cram into our already populated systems. Now we got people already talking about that Cyrus fellow. Well, Pat's saying everyone's all in a huff about Cyrus, and we'll talk about him soon enough. And we'll rip right into that one with his strange bald head and his beady little goggles. We'll deal with him soon enough. But we're also going to be talking. Excuse me. We're also going to be talking about my favorite Primarch. Huh? Do you know I had a favorite Primarch? I know the politic thing is to say all of them. Or perhaps, given the political climate of the day, it might be a popular thing to say the Avenging Sun. Good old Rabute Gilliman. Good old favorite of Cyrus Amani, apparently. Not that I have it. I can't complain too much. There's not very many people who work for the government who do their jobs well, and I can't be too hard on that. But the truth is that the Avenging Sun, as well as he does his job, he gives those Imperial truthers the impression that that's the way everything's got to be done, that everyone can run things the same way a Primarch can, or the same way that even his sons can run things. And unless you're living in Macragge, in the 500 worlds of Macragge, I don't think that's going to be likely. You think that your local guy's going to take care of that? All right, we got people coming out on the air. We got Charlie Elliott. Pat's telling me that he is some sort of happy dog image. Well, thank you very much for the donation, Charlie. You're always welcome on the Adrian Pius show. But as far as callers, we've got Joseph Easton coming in. Hey, Adrian Pius, look, bald, no visible eyes. Look, I'm saying Genestealer spies right here. Genestealer, how very interesting. Because, I've heard that said once already. And I believe some of the callers that were ignored on the Cyrus Amani show were bringing up that same point, that what is he concerned about? What is Cyrus Amani always concerned about? The plight of the common man, plight of the menials. Yes, I'm going to say menials. I'm not going to say workers. Menials do menial work, which makes them menials. And anyone who's talking about that kind of nonsense, that's the kind of talk that I expect from the Tau, or from that you hear from the Genestealer cults. So Joseph, I very much appreciate it. Oh, Pat's coming in. We got Charlie Elliott. He's apparently explaining himself. Go on ahead, Charlie Elliott. What is that? You sent me a picture right there. Yeah, thank you. It is a space wolf, Adrian. I love your show. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Charlie Elliott, that is a dancing, happy space wolf. And Charlie, you're getting ahead of me on talking about which one of the Primarchs are my favorite, but we're gonna come back on that. We also got a nice donation from Indric Lomi. Pat, can we get a pronunciation on that one? Oh, looks like we also got a storm raging outside the studio. So if you all hear some frightened canids, that might be the reason. Got a bit of a storm. All right, so I think everyone's pretty. We're going to talk about Vigilus, because if you want to talk about a perfect storm of incompetence that's caused by imperial trutherism, that's one of them. And I'll get to that. You don't worry one bit. But I think we really ought to address, really ought to start talking about this Cyrus Amani situation. So apparently, this Cyrus Amani is a counterweight, a point of view to keep things in balance, so to speak, when it comes to opinion. And I don't know about you, but this Imperium is not one that's known for its variety of opinion. People say I'm puritanical. People say he's radical. I say I'm right, and I say he's wrong. There's not such a thing as different points of view. There are polar opposites, and that's the only thing that exists. And quite honestly, I am sickened by the presence of Cyrus Amani, and that he's mentioned the same as me in the same breath. The truth is, people, the evidence that I am correct and he's wrong is right there in the ratings. Because to let you know right now, we are clobbering Cyrus Amani in the ratings. Not even close. Not even close to the big time ratings of Adrian Pius. You know why that's true? It's because he's boring, because he blathers on, because he's weak-willed, and he's a weak man. Have you seen those scrawny little arms? Take a look at this my powerful form. A real physical specimen, really I am. And it's unfortunate that I was unable to serve when called upon. It was simply unfortunate. Hadn't gotten all the important augmentics. And I got Pat's telling me we got Mr. Pius. What is my opinion? Let's see. We got a few people. All right. Mr. Pius, I'm currently working for an inquisitor who has chosen to remain unnamed. She has a few questions I would like to relay. First, are you and Cyrus secretly working together? That is an outrageous accusation to accuse me of perpetuating a two-side perspective, a polarization of the Imperium, that you have to agree with either me completely or agree with Cyrus completely, that perpetuating this kind of point of view doesn't benefit anyone except for myself and Cyrus and Amani. That we did this deliberately, that we're both in cahoots, is outrageous. Completely outrageous. I'm the good guy here. Cyrus and Amani's the bad guy, and we're fighting for the soul of the Imperium. So, Pat, you can't look. I gotta address these things, Pat. No, I'm not gonna shy away because really answering questions with the answers I want to give is really the bravery of it all. So, got another question. Pat's got another question from Shermanus. Mr. Pius, what is your opinion on the Great Macarian? That's the fellow that conquered 1,000 worlds. Am I correct in that? Is that the fellow? I thought his name was Macarius. Am I mixing things up? Yeah, you talking about Macarius? All right, I've got another phone call from Indrik. I gotta apologize, Loime. Really, a little embarrassed about this one, Pat. We'll figure it out. But go ahead, Adrian Pius. Are the Adeptus Custodes real? Yes, they are most assuredly real. I know there's a lot of truth being flung around, and it can spin your head around. But I assure you, though I've never seen one myself, that the Adeptus Custodes, forged by the Emperor himself, guardians of the Holy Throne of Terra, are most assuredly real, and they truly are the Emperor's finest, regardless of what many will say the Emperor's finest really are. We got someone who's a bit of a joker now. Pat, what do you got? Yeah, that's what I thought. Someone's asking about orcs investing in plasteel never fail bunkers. Now listen. Plasteel is simply both of these are really about protection. Never fail bunkers, proud sponsor of the Adrian Pius show. They are all about keeping you safe in the event of a terrible catastrophe. And so that's just true of plasteel as well. Nothing is as stable as investing in plasteel. So if there's an orc who's hoarding resources, really, that only speaks to the truth of what I'm saying, is that this material's extremely valuable and really needs to, and it's being scarce if the Xenos are trying to steal or buy or whatever it all up. All right, we're gonna come back to the phones in a bit, but I think we really need to get talking about our topics here. So I've talked a little bit about Cyrus and Amani. We'll come back to him as well. Like, look, the accusations of him being a Genestealer and a Xeno sympathizer. But I'm going to be honest. There's, as far as we know, as far as they're telling us, there is no proof. But you know, when there are enough wild accusations, it's really something that should be investigated and should keep being investigated, no matter how many times proof is produced that proves that Cyrus Amani is not a Genestealer and has no Xeno sympathies or connections. We'll keep asking the hard questions on this show. We're going to keep pushing to find out the truth. And if the truth keeps saying, no, that's not true, we're gonna keep asking the question until we get the answer we want. That's what we do here on the Adrian Pius show. All right, so moving on to Vigilus. If you want to know, so let me give you a little bit of background. Let me explain that Vigilus is a hive world that is part of a vital importance to the Nakmund Gauntlet. A rare, narrow trade corridor between the Imperium Sanctus and the Imperium Nihilus. So it's an important trade route, and that's also where a lot of these refugees come pouring out. So Cyrus Amani, that's where they're coming from. So it's important that this not all get mucked up. But it doesn't matter because everything's a great big mess over there, and a lot of it has to do with the bureaucratic incompetence of the powers that be they're running Vigilus. What we've got now on Vigilus was the Black Legion. Good old Abaddon the Despoiler made his claim. And through the combined efforts of Imperial forces, many Imperial forces, they were able to repulse him. But that's not the only problem. And the issues persist because you've got orcs that have also landed on Vigilus, and then they're creating a big problem. They're still out there. They're fighting. They're getting bigger, and they're with their DACA and their trucks and what have you. But the other thing that was the big failing of Vigilus, big government, big brother running Vigilus, knows how to run things, was there was a Genestealer infestation. Genestealers had infiltrated the entirety of one of the continents, one of the hive continents of Vigilus, and their presence has undermined efforts to defend the place for as long as for quite some time. And now it all exploded as soon as they saw an opportunity. They saw the opportunity to really bring things to a screeching halt with their rebellion. And this is what I'm talking about. This is what comes from people thinking that big government is going to solve everything for us, and just leaving things in the hands of people like Cyrus Amani. Because what happens is we're overrun with a bunch of bald-headed things with weird eyes that come crawling out the gutters, talking about helping the poor, talking about they're the pauper princes, whatever have you. Any kind of, you hear anyone talking about that kind of justice, that kind of helping out the poor, then that's going to be the doom, and that's going to all come from thinking like Cyrus Amani. All right, Pat says we have Old Man Skeletal coming in hot.
Hello. You may remember me from the Triarch Praetorians back during your debut. I have come to thank you for getting that filth that is the Mechanicus off of our lawns. In return, I have bought 500 million never-failed bunkers for my tomb. Thanks.
Listen, this is maybe it's unwise to thank me, on air, but it's You're making me look bad, old man Skeletal. You're making me look bad. Pat, wait, he did that again. Well, I can't argue with that. Well, see, that's the thing here, listeners, is even the Xenos, as wrong as they are about pretty much everything, they still see the value in never fail bunkers. If you are an Imperial citizen, even the highly advanced Xenos faction, known as the Necrons, still make use of never fail bunkers through, of course, the legal distribution through rogue traders. Nothing illegal about this at all. Nothing that is heretical. Even the various and sundry Xenos still trust in never fail bunkers to keep their own dark secrets and whatever it is that they are all about safe, of course. Anyway, this book, it's good. So appreciate the truth behind the success of never fail bunkers. But we really ought to focus again on Vigilus, because this is what Cyrus Amani wants to do with every system in the Imperium. Torn by war, infiltrated by Xenos and degenerates of every kind, and then just trapped in never-ending war. Who profits from endless wars? Who profits from endless wars? Well, clearly Cyrus Amani, because what does war make? War makes more of those poor people that he's always talking about. War makes the menials unhappy, and that's going to drive up his ratings. And if there's anything that should actually be focused on in the galactic level of tragedy that is occurring on a massive scale, it is my ratings against Cyrus Amani's ratings. All right. So we're gonna set aside now. Cyrus Amani supporters are probably going to come in here. They're going to flood in here, and they're going to point out who were the supposed saviors of Vigilus. Who stopped Abaddon the Destroyer? Or Despoiler. Who stopped him? Who stopped him? It was the Ultramarines. Ultramarines showed up, even though everyone was pretty much on there. You had Space Wolves were present, and you had Salamanders. You had all sorts of different groups of people, different guard regiments. But who comes in and gets all the credit? Marnius Calgar and the Ultramarines, and that's going to be what they focus on. It's like, it's the. And then they're going to say, well, that's what we want. We want the McCrag nanny state. We'll get the good people in charge, and the good people will know how to run things. They'll conduct the wars, and they'll win everything for us. Look, I got a couple of people complaining that I've got heretics and Xenos in calling into the show. Now listen. Some people might say that that's a conflict of interest. That I've got Necrons and heretics and all manner of people. But look, I can't stop these people from being able to call into my show. Everyone can have a Vox transmitter and call into good old Pat. And the thing is, if they're calling in, and they're giving me money. And some people may say, listen, you're giving heretics and Xenos a platform to reach all sorts of people to corrupt the Imperium from within. To that I say, did you see how much they paid me? Wait, that's a bad look, isn't it, Pat? Well, look, the support that goes to the Adrian Pius show, me being a member of the Imperium and me getting the money, clearly any and all support that goes to the show, in a manner of speaking, goes to supporting the Imperium. Well, it seems like we got a lot of Xenos. Now, listen. I got to choose my words carefully here. It is not for mankind to live in peace with Xenos. It can't be done. It simply can't be done. All right, we got another call coming in from Rose Spark. Whoa! Provides the best kind of loot from Yumi, Space Marine, Fancy Boys, Metal Boys. They got good heads I collect. I order bunkers. Where is bunkers? Well, I would recommend that if you have had trouble receiving your order of Never Fail Bunkers, I would suggest you contact Never Fail Bunkers main home office, which is actually located surprisingly close to my own studios. So I'll have Pat redirect you, Rose Spark, and we'll get that sorted out for you. So people are so. Listen, we're talking about the mess that is Vigilus, and really, it's not because there is an enormous space rift that heretics and Xenos came pouring out of that Vigilus happened. It's not because orcs landed and chaos landed, and that was an opportunity for the Genestealer cults to really spring into action. That's not the reason. The primary reason that this all happened is because of failure on the part of big Cyrus Amani government and thinking that having any kind of sympathy for the plight of those less fortunate than ourselves. That's just the way we're going to get this doomed, I think. Now we've talked a little bit about it, but what is the agenda of Genestealers? Now, some of you might say they're infected, biologically altered humans whose genetics now force them to set the stage, so to speak, for a Tyranid invasion, to create an uprising, so that way Tyranids can invade and consume everything, and that's what they're all about. But you would be wrong. The real thing that they're all about is they're all about rights and fairness and the downtrodden and rebellion and fighting against tyranny, all that sort of stuff. Whenever you hear anyone talking about that sort of stuff, that's the Genestealer goal. And people might say, well, they clearly are setting the stage for Tyranid invasion. And to you, I say, that is the radical position. That is where this is going to lead. This is all going to make us vulnerable to invasion and conquest. It is only through behaving extremely callously towards people who are not like us, who are not in the same position as, say, a well-to-do Voxcaster, that just having absolutely no sympathy is the way to go, and assuming everything's going to be fine from that point on. Look, Let's not change things until it's too late to change, and then when things go wrong, we blame the ideas that we're afraid of. Come on now. You all know I'm right. Getting a little sip of a drink here. So why don't we go ahead and so Vigilus I think is more than a bit of a mess, and let's also make sure that we're ignoring the success of the Ultramarines who are just buddy with Cyrus. He's all about the Ultramarines, which again might bring some things into question. Maybe the way the Emperor's quote unquote finest are doing things has some appeal to these degenerates that are sowing discord among everything. But why don't we talk about so that's their primary. That's the Avenging Sun. That is Rabute Gilliman, who the way the radicals are going to frame it is he's come in and he's cleaning house. He's coming in, he's draining the swamp, he's fixing it all up, making government run well. Getting rid of all the corrupt old high lords and running things himself. Now even though Rabute Gilliman wrote the Codex Astartes with the expressed purpose of not putting too much power in the hands of one man. But what's he doing now? Is he basically running everything? Did he basically take over everything? Implement the Primarchs that were produced? Just what do they call it? Unilaterally. All right. Pat says we got Lorenzo coming in hot on the line. All right, Lorenzo, good old friend of the show. What do you got to say? Hey, Adrian. Just wanted to ask, is there any merit that Vigilis was an inside job? Well, I think all evidence points to it. I think that would it be a reach to say that Cyrus Amani himself single-handedly orchestrated literally everything that's wrong with the Imperium? Well, I'd say that might be technically, from a legal and slander and libel point of view. No, I probably wouldn't say that. But would I absolutely, completely confirm in a way that doesn't implicate me? Legally, absolutely. Would I lay that blame hypothetically on Cyrus Amani's feet if there was proof? Absolutely. But I think you have to say it's an inside job. I mean, if you have Genestealers, it means someone's not doing their job. If there aren't compulsory genome scans for the population of untold billions, I don't know how you can't say this was an inside job. Now, there are some people that are calling this a wild accusation, but a little convenient that this big mess happened, and who gets to be the saviors of Vigilus? So those, it's the boys in blue, Mr. Big Government themselves. I'll just let you think about that. Come to your own conclusions. I'm just going to imply something and not say it, but let you all come to your own conclusions. Well, people are saying I'm hostile to the Ultramarines. Hostile. No. There's nothing wrong with the Ultramarines. There's nothing wrong with the Avenging Sun, Rabute Gilliman. There's nothing wrong with Marnius Calgar. There's nothing wrong with Cato Sicarius. all heroes. But the problem is everyone thinks they can run a government the way an Ultramarine does. And what we're talking about? They're a chapter, so what? Include all the successor chapters, you're talking about a few thousand. The Ultramarines and then all of their successor chapters. Let's be generous and say, let's be extra generous and say there's 50,000 Ultramarines and then Ultramarine successor chapters that are floating around there somewhere. That's not enough. There are 1 million worlds in this Imperium. You can't expect every single to assume that the Ultramarines have to go fight stuff. They can't. They're not here to fix all of your problems. That's what where the danger in them comes from. It's that they can run things. You can't. Only myself and my listeners and people who think the way I do and want to do things the way I do really understand how things need to be run. And they need to be run as simply and effectively and mercilessly as possible. That's just the true nature of this. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're always talking about. All right, Pat, we got what's this? Look, you can't, Pat. You still there? Pat, what's going on? This is.
Why not be nice to the human guests and torture them if they don't comply? Also, you got the Genestealer gets in your underhive.
Pat, get security up here. Where are my Catids? Are they still hiding? Look, the storm's just about over. We lock this place down, Pat. But you know what? In the face of all this danger, I am not going to give up. I am going to stand resolute. People are trying to silence Adrian Pius. All right, my life is now on the line, folks. That's how serious my truth is. Xenos and heretics all around are trying to silence Adrian Pius, voice of the Imperium. The voice of truth. All right, we got Indrik back on the line. All right, Indrik, what do you got? Just wanted to ask, is the Officio Assassinorum real or a myth? Now listen, Indrik, I have no doubt that there are a lot of resources that the High Lords of Terra, that Inquisitors, that high-ranking members of Imperial Society have access to. And I also know better than to ask those kind of questions. So, my advice to you, if you are a heretic, is you better hope that's a myth. If you're a law-abiding citizen who fears the Emperor, does his work without complaining and whining, then I think you put your faith in those institutions to strike fear into the hearts of heretics. What we got? Pat's saying we might have some Space Marines coming in to check things out. Very much appreciate you. Very much appreciate that. Gonna lock things down here at the station. Might be why we're having trouble shipping never fail bunkers. We got Xenos, and you know, and who would want to silence me? We got all these Xenos running around. Who's to say they weren't sent? Who's to say they were not sent by, I don't know, certain bald-headed, bespectacled individuals with ridiculous notions and radical ideas. We're puritanical here on the Adrian Pius Show, and we do not accept any kind of correspondence or fraternization with Xenos, just as long as you ignore all the times that I've done it. I don't know. Someone just said they're pretty sure the Assassinorum is real, and they say they saw one of them sniping the Craft Worlders. I don't think that's true, because I don't think you would have seen them. Huh? If you saw them, it's probably not Officio Assassinorum. All right. Lorenzo's been chatting on the line, and he brings up a good question. The real question is who squatted the squats. The world has to know. So I don't know if you all have heard the story of the squats, but they were an abhuman strain. They were really adept at mining and building things. Had some very fine things as far as forge worlds and building all sorts of things. But these abhumans were not content with their lot. And they formed their own sort of civilization. Broke away. They're heretics in their own right. We don't need the Imperium. We're gonna do our own thing and be squats. Now you all know what happened. What happened? Well, I don't know if you know what happened. Break away from the Imperium. You lose the guiding light of the Emperor. Then what happens? Eaten by Tyranids. Eaten by Tyranids, all gone. That's the way I heard it, that's the way I understand it, and that's what I believe. And you know what? Well, even though this is wild speculation and there's not a shred of evidence to prove it, I'm going to assert that the squats probably shared ideology with Cyrus Amani. You heard it from me first. When the investigations turn all this stuff up, you'll be saying Adrian Pius saw it first. Even though he hadn't seen any of the evidence, he knew ahead of time. Pat's saying we got Rose Spark again. All right, put him on. I was coming over to get my bunkers and my teeth. If I get none. And then he has a case full of, he's going to bring a lawsuit against me. He's got apparently a law brought with him. Listen, it states very clearly that Xenos can't sue anyone in the Imperium, so any never-failed bunkers that do not arrive to Xenos customers, except for those ones who can overpower a squad of Space Marines that have been sent to protect the station, you don't have any legal recourse. So, but I appreciate your continued support of the station, Rose Spark. We'll see what we can do about the bunkers. Naturally, never-fail bunkers are truly what I rely on to keep myself safe. When the Xenos come a-knockin', when Necrons or Orcs or Tyranids or Cyrus Amani himself come seeking to bring harm to Adrian Pius, I keep myself secure and never-fail bunkers with my patented 6-month supply of food. Because if you can't hide in a box with 6 months worth of food and have that solve all of your problems, well, you've got problems worse than I do. Never fail bunkers. They won't fail for at least 6 months. Now, let's move on, I think, to a topic I had teased earlier. And that is the topic of favorite primarchs, and talked about Rabute Guilliman, and I've got nothing against Rabute Guilliman. He's so good at what he does that in Macragge, things work. But not everywhere is McCrag, and not everyone's is an Ultramarine. If you have a small enough population, and if you have enough Space Marines that know how to run things, and train people on how to run things, then that's fine. Then you have McCrag, the jewel of the Imperium, and that's fine. But the people who are running stuff are not Ultramarines. And then where we live in is not McCrag, unless you're lucky enough that's where you live. And and his example is putting a lot of bad ideas in people's heads that they can do the same thing. They can't. They're just not good enough. They're not smart enough. The best Primarch, in my opinion, is none other than Leman Russ, a real man's man. Leman Russ, the executioner of the Emperor, who can really get out there and doesn't have to. He's going to follow his own rules. He's going to take names and deal the Emperor's vengeance, and he's going to do so without mercy, without any namby-pamby hand-wringing. And you can't say no to facial hair that's that impressive. It's that impressive. No, it's truly going to be the Space Wolves, who are not going to be bound by the Codex Astartes. They're not going to be bound by where someone says where they can and can't go. I got a request coming in on the line. Another one from Indrik, a friend of the show. Adrian Pius, can you give this small guard squad your blessing so we may survive the next battle? All right. Though I am not part of the Ministorum, nor am I part of the Mechanicus, not really in the priestly ways of things, still, I will offer my prayers to the Emperor, the God Emperor of mankind, that he will protect your guard unit, and once again, we thank you for your service. All right, we got Pat says looks like we got a Cyrus Amani supporter on the line. All right, BGC Vatan, what do you got? Hey Adrian, look, Leman Russ explained that's your favorite Primarch. That explains your lack of better judgment. That's poor judgment was on the part of a lot of folks, but not the Russ. Because you know what he's doing right now? He's out there. And his sons are out there bringing the fight to the bad guys of the galaxy. And some people might not like that. You're gonna follow the rules. Spacebook says. Not everyone follows Spacebook. Not everyone follows the Codex Astartes. And they have not been deemed heretical, which means they're not. On BGC Vitansi, he keeps going. Pat's saying he's keep going. Now he's saying that I'm saying words crosswise about the Dark Angels. Why are you bringing up the Dark Angels, BGC Vatan? Why are you saying that? You're saying that I think they're suspicious. Oh, I think it's suspicious that you're bringing up the fact that I said they're suspicious, which makes you seem suspicious. Doesn't like Leman Russ is now making wild accusations about my opinions regarding the Dark Angels. Listen, I think we got a But you know what? I think this is just a typical Cyrus Amani brainwashed fanatic. Anyone and that's just what people are who don't agree with me. The only answer is they must be brainwashed fanatics, Xeno sympathizers, screaming heretics and maniacs. That's what we're dealing with here. That's who we're standing against in this fight. Now he's saying that Lehman Russ doesn't like the Dark Angels, so I must also listen. I'm not going to dive into the various and sundry rivalries and disagreements that the Primarchs have. If you are going to stick your nose into disagreements between Primarchs, well, I just got to ask, who do you think you are, buddy? Lehman Russ do you think he has a dispute with the Lion? That's not my business. My business is telling you what your business is. That's my business. All right, we got Pink Gibbous on the line. Uh-oh. Pat's shaking his head at this one. All right, Pink Gibbous, you're on the line. Hi, I'm Hephaestus of the Dark Mechanicum. I regularly listen to your show for the laughs. I recently stole a never-fail bunker from a world my sect raided. It's built adequately and quite roomy. See, this is where we're having our delays in shipment, so I do apologize. The never-fail bunker system is so popular that heretics are raiding worlds specifically to steal them. I see why you let him on, Pat. The truth, even people who cannot accept the truth of the Emperor, the truth of the Omnissiah, they still see the truth and reliability of never-fail bunkers. So please, invest in never-fail bunkers. You won't regret it, and your family and friends who use the space with you will thank you when you survive what seems to be a never-ending onslaught of Xenos and heretic maniacs. So that's what I'm telling people. The investing in never-fail bunkers can't go wrong. If everyone in the galaxy is buying never-fail bunkers, how can it, or stealing them, how can it be wrong? And we also have concerns about monetary instability here in the Imperium. Because you got wars, and you have bad government, and you have Cyrus Amani radicals rattling off their various heresies and nonsense. And where's a safe place to turn? Where can you put your finances to make sure that your future is secure? And the truth is, you can find that in never-fail other one. Invest in Plasteel. And if you invest in Plasteel using the promotional code Adrian Pius, you'll be given 5% off of your first purchase of Plasteel, and that's really going to help protect your investments for the far future, because there's nothing with stable prices quite like Plasteel. We're rolling along, I think. Dispensing truth and dismissing heretics and the haters alike. I had quite a few of the haters earlier on, but it seemed, and BGC Vatan has been at it. Seems I've touched on a sore spot that because he likes the Dark Angels and And I can see the clear advantage of the space wolves, the Primarch Lehman Russ, that he is gonna cast aspersions on that. But since then things have kind of settled down. I think we kind of scared him off. All of you that are the Adrian Pius faithful, we've shown them a thing or two, I think. So, all right, why don't we take a see what we got? Oh, all right, Lorenzo's at it too. Lorenzo, come on, you're a pal here. So, is there any truth to the allegations that space wolves are harboring chaos mutants known as Wolfen in their ranks? Now, listen. Wild accusations are only true when I make them. When other people make them, and they're accusations that fly in the face of my narrative, well, then they're just talking nonsense. Why in the world would the wolves tolerate abhorrent mutations and variations on the human strain? Look, if there's a stable mutation that has come about as a way for humans to survive on unusual, like, high gravity planets, or whatever it is that produced like they produced ogrins, or whatever it was that produced ratlings, then that has a process. There's a process of approval for abhumans. And if the wolves have any kind of abhumans or consistent mutation that they have, then they'll go through they will. It'll be fine. I'm sure that everything that the wolves do is fine, because I said so. All right, I got another question. I've got someone who's asking about, did Belisarius Call use the squats to help him create the Primarchs and their higher quality war gear? Listen, I'm not a Mechanicus whiz. So but I'm gonna say that no, he's not gonna be used. He's not gonna be used. Maybe there were some loyalist squats that stuck around. I don't know, but I think we ought to be looking into any kind of. I think we ought to be looking into that sort of thing to make sure there's no tech heresy going on here. All right, so we got Lorenzo coming back. Hey, Adrian, I agree with your last commercial. Look, I invented in Doge Vandire coin and lost all of my money. Plasteel would have been a much wiser investment. Love the show. Thanks very much. See you around. Very much appreciate the call in, Lorenzo. Look, we got that's the case. You got radicals peddling all kinds of crap. You know, Doge Vandire coin. The come on now, like that's got to be the most evil sounding name for cryptocurrency I've ever heard. And what happened? He lost all of his money. And had he invested in Plasteel, he would have had a nice, stable financial rock. We got BGC Vatan calling in again. BGC Vatan, you're on the air. Hey Adrian, so you're saying, like, when Horus ordered them to destroy Prospero? Listen, I don't like thinking about nuances or evidence that might disprove my unshakable faith in the Russ. So, bringing up historical facts and figures and evidence, uh, that's just not what we do here on the Adrian Pius show, unless the evidence proves a point that I already agree with. Oh, all right, we got more. Now this is the wild speculation I can get behind. All right, so we've got people discussing Governor Greg. They're saying now that he's poisoning the water and he's turning the squats gay. Now, would I be surprised to learn that an Ogren somehow mistakenly poisoned the water? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. And you know how someone else has suggested that he might have poisoned them with pickle juice. Now, again, we here at the Adrian Pius show only engage in wild speculation when it proves points that we already believe. And I believe that Greg is a misguided puppet of forces that would be much more likely to listen to Cyrus Amani than to Adrian Pius. So I'm going to treat the suggestion that Governor Greg somehow inadvertently or through the manipulation of nefarious forces got pickle juice into the water supply, making numerous people sick. I think that's quite plausible. And when I say plausible, I'm going to say absolutely. All right, we got Opusa, or OPUSA, or Opusa. We're going to go Opusa. Hey, Adrian, can I use the Never Fail bunkers as ammunition? Because it never fails. A fellow Hume asking for a Hume friend for Deperium. There seemed to be some kind of voice modulation. Hey, Pat, can we run that back? Can you undo the voice modulation? All right, let's see if we can play it back in its original form. Can I use the Never Fail bunkers as ammunition? Because it never fail. Definitely fellow Yumi asking for a Yumi friend for Deperium. Well, Pat, we're going to have to work out exactly where this is coming from. But if you buy a Never Fail bunker and use it in a manner unlike the way its directed use is, Never Fail is not responsible for your decision to use it in a different means, for different means. And that being said, yes, I'm not going to say no that it doesn't do those things. I'm just going to say that for legal purposes, I can't endorse that. But in a non-legal, unofficial capacity, yes, buy them for whatever reason that you want. They probably work fine. And this also brings me to this pickle juice brings me to my newest sponsor, Adrian Pius drink flavoring filters. Now, if you're worried about incompetent governors slipping pickle juice into your water supply or some other substance that you just don't trust, or maybe there's been a problem in your hive that the water simply isn't to be trusted, use Adrian Pius flavored water filters to get fresh, delicious, clean water at a fraction of the cost of buying an entire spaceship. So you really want to make sure that you are keeping your family safe with good, healthy, clean water that has a wonderful taste to it. Adrian Pius flavor water filters. Now, getting back to, listen, we're here at the Adrian Pius show. There's a lot of disputes. There's a lot of people saying a lot of different things, and it doesn't really matter what other people say or objections to what they have against me or evidence they provide. The important thing is that I'm saying my words very confidently. And when I say my words very confidently and sound dismissive of people that bring up any kind of objection, then people believe me. And what's more convincing is when people call into the show and I let them talk as if I'm being magnanimous and hearing them out. All I have to do is hit the mute button afterwards and then ramble on forever about why they're wrong. That's it. That's how we do things here at the Adrian Pius show. That's how we get to the truth. Simplify, simplify, simplify. Look at the evidence that proves what we believe. Ignore the evidence that goes against what we've said. As wild and ridiculous. All right, Pat's saying there's a scribe named Jameson, and he said that the great Saint Celestine is no hero. Rather, the common folk are. What are your thoughts on him? Listen, that seems like more imperial truth nonsense. I mean, it's Saint Celestine. The saint is right there in the name. Saint Celestine has had numerous apparitions, completed numerous miracles as confirmed by the Ministorum. And I think anyone who's casting aspersions against Saint Celestine, well, you might as well be speaking words crosswise against the Emperor. Clearly, Saint Celestine is a vessel of the Emperor, a great hero. And if you're going to say Saint Celestine isn't a hero, you might as well say Macarius wasn't a hero. Now, somebody else calling in, you got Old Man Skeletal, a simple way of thinking. Exactly. Want to keep things as simple as possible and our answers as easy as possible and as comfortable for us to believe. Because look, if the problems of the Imperium are somebody else's, then we don't have to fix them. If it's the problem that bloated government bureaucracy is ruining everything, well, that's not you. You're not part of the bloated government bureaucracy. Or if you are, you can think it's the people who are in charge of you. It's not you. You're just a small piece of the puzzle, small cog. You can't do anything. As long as we think we can't do anything and there's someone else to blame, that's it. Don't try to fix problems. Blame everyone else. There we go. They're saying it. The truth, the truth, the truth, the truth. Everyone wants the truth, and I'm giving it to you. The truth is, it's not your fault because you're an Adrian Pius listener. It's the fault of bloated government bureaucracy that we may or may not be involved in or not really doing anything to fix. We got. It sounds like we got Cyrus and Amani supporters here. Got a false report. Inquisitor bought a never-failed bunker and it collapsed a few days of use. Nonsense. Never-failed bunkers will never fail unless improperly installed. So I'm going to blame shoddy workmanship, probably because of unions on the planet in question. All right, we got another question popping up here, and I've heard rumors of this, and honestly, this sounds like rumors spread by a certain individual who lacks the follicle magnificence of yours truly, and the keen eyesight that I myself have. Mr. Pius, have you heard that green beacon in the warp in the middle of what the Imperium claims is Orc territory? I've heard the rumor, and I'm going to say that that's a lie spread by heretical elements coming from the Cyrus Amani camp. There's no, that doesn't seem like something orcs can be able to do, and it's just trying to drum up Xeno's sympathies. All right, you got BGC Vatan being hostile again. All right, it's fine, Pat. Don't worry. Don't worry, Pat. Go ahead and put him on. You've spoken like a true heretic, out of bolter range. Oh, come on, BGC Vatan. I am being the brave one here. I'm sitting comfortably in a Voxcast station transmitting the truth. The TRUTH, the truth. And if there's not a more dangerous thing in the galaxy, then I don't know what is. Now, some of you might say landing on a demon world and trying to reclaim it in the name of the Emperor while facing endless hordes of monstrosities and terror and suffering beyond human imagining is a lot harder than sitting in a chair and talking to people. Well, I don't think you realize how mean people can be to me sometimes. You don't realize how often Pat has just really mean people calling in and saying that I'm wrong. All right, I got another one coming in. You got Dr. Steelworth. You're on the Adrian Pius show. Wait a minute. Pat, you... All right, all right, put him on. There's the Emperor. I need 700 never-fail bunkers delivered to Earth. I don't care how much it costs. All right, well, we're going to let Never-Fail Bunkers headquarters deal with that one. Dr. Steelworth, thank you for your call. Look, I think this is just more evidence that Never-Fail bunkers are truly the most reliable bunker in the galaxy. Even everyone in the Imperium uses them, even the heretical and the Xeno, and the Miscreant and the Witch. Everyone knows the safety and reliability of Never-Fail bunkers. So thank you once again. As much as we are, we do not cotton to any sort of Xenos influence here at the Adrian Pius show. We cannot be bought. We are going to keep telling our truth as we see it. And regardless of how often we actually let Xenos on the air to say the things they're going to say, we will not stand idly by and endorse anything. We're go Emperor, boo Xenos, all that kind of thing. But you can't deny that the Xenos also appreciate. Xenos don't appreciate anything right, but they do appreciate Never-Fail bunkers. All right, so we got a little bit more than 15 minutes left of the show, and let's really talk about some important points here. You've got so many problems all around the galaxy. We've got, especially with the Chicatrix Maledictum opening wide, and really threats from forces from all over the Imperium are really beset. And when we look at all of these problems, the myriad problems of the Imperium, the issues of starvation, spreading disease, demon incursion, Xenos raiders, torture, mayhem, suffering, raining blood, just all kinds of nonsense. What we really need to do when we're looking at all of these problems is remember, it's not your fault, it's someone else's fault, and it's for somebody else to fix the problem. No matter how bad things get, it's just easier to blame somebody else. And right now, in my galaxy of easy solutions, I'm going to put the blame squarely in the lap of Cyrus Amani. He's really the one who is coming up with these dangerous, weak-minded ideas. It's like, now what's more important? Permanently eliminating Xenos and heretic and witch threats, or do we really? Or what's clearly the more important thing is stamping out this ridiculous notion that we need to call menials workers. You hear anyone call a menial a worker, that's a word that's different than the word that I use, and that's something I don't like. I don't like using words that are different than the words I use. That's the most important threat we're dealing with here in the Imperium. We really need to make sure we're using the same words. If we're using different words, then it's a different language, and that's not Imperial, right? Now we got a suggestion. Maybe he's orchestrating a coup. Could be. Look, I'm not going to put anything past Cyrus Amani or his cult. See what I did there? His cult of believers. That's clever. And Pat's laughing. Pat thought it was funny. I thought that was funny. But look, the truth is, as long as we're beating Cyrus Amani in the ratings, and sales of Never Fail bunkers and Adrian Pius flavored water filters, and really the sales of Plasteel continue to be profitable, I think we're going to be setting the Imperium back on the right path. But we just have to fight tooth and nail against Cyrus Amani. And then all the other problems are going to solve themselves. All right, so wait a minute. We got a couple of interesting things coming in through the phone line. So we got 1 minute they're telling us to call Nevil's workers, and then they're saying we can't celebrate Sanguinama. It's a slippery slope, and it all reads there. Exactly. You can't celebrate Sanguinala. You got to call people workers. The Emperor's not really a god. Where does it all end? All roads lead to heresy. Any of those roads paved and paid for by Cyrus Amani, all leading to the doom and destruction of the Imperium. All right, we also got another important question. So Adrian Pius, what do you think of the new counterfeit of Never Fail bunker called Real Never Fail Bunker? Listen. Only trust Never Fail bunker. Don't go with the cheap imitation. That was probably what happened to that poor Inquisitor, was probably bamboozled into buying the faker, so to speak. I got more Cyrus Amani whinging and I called him a cult. Apparently that's calling the pot calling the kettle heretical. All right. Why don't you just go back to your little many-armed clubhouse down below in the underhive and meet with all your little friends, because we're coming for you. And by we're coming for you, I mean the squad of Marines that's been tasked with protecting me. They're coming for you, and they've got flamers. So any and all impurity will be eradicated, and things will be No, it just keeps going on. All roads lead to heresy, which means that even the Emperor's road leads to heresy. Blah, blah, blah. Listen, I say what I say, and I mean what I say, except when I don't, which means listen to what I say. It's that simple. It's that simple. Just believe the things I say, even when they contradict, just like you do with the Emperor. Look, I'm speaking the Emperor's truth here. You accept the Emperor's word, contradictions and all, and everything's fine. So I got Dr. Steelworth coming in now. I wonder if it's this Dr. Steelworth. He seems like he has a bunch of different Vox comms coming in. Apologies. This is Caiaphas Kane. I found that Voxcaster and sent that message by mistake. I really would like to endorse the Never Fail Bunkers. Well, there you have it. Even Caiaphas Kane himself, hero of the Imperium, relies on Never Fail Bunkers for his bunker needs. Rely on Never Fail, and they will never fail. Another threat from BGC Vatan. All right, no, Pat, I'm not afraid. And I'm not just saying that because because no one's here to threaten me, and I'm talking into a Vox communicator, and I have Space Marines to protect me. All right, let's go ahead. Put them on. Put on BGC Vatan. I like the conflict.
Come then. The interrogator chaplain has been lonely.
Oh, you're stirring up rivalries where there should be none. That's a Cyrus Amani there for you, turning the humans against themselves. Isn't that what the Genestealer cults do? Yep. Never Fail Bunkers, approved by Caiaphas Kane, hero of the Imperium, and we still have sore loser Cyrus Amani sympathizers coming in here and trying to give me the business. And I'm just saying it's a real good thing I have a mute button here. All right, we're kind of winding things down, so let's get to some final thoughts. I heard that Cyrus Amani had some of his own final thoughts, and he got a little interrupted by his Xenos friends. All right, let's get down to business. So we talked about we've talked about Cyrus Amani, and really I think proved that he's really the one behind all of the evils that dwell in the Imperium. More complex explanations are really not my thing. I like to keep things simple here. We've gone over the situation on Vigilus, and really how Vigilis is a prime example of how this imperial trutherism really adds up to doom for the Imperium. Oh, Pat's saying we got another one. We got another one from OPUSA or Opusa. Still not sure how it is. All right, go ahead, Opusa. Those bunkers are really nice. Calling them Mad Boys shrapnel. Fire from space into battle, and the heads of the weird boys looking Yumis looking for the Cyrus kit. Pat, is this another one of those ones that got warped? All right, play it regular. Those bunkers are really nice. Calling them Mad Boys shrapnel. Yeah, fire them from space into battle on the edge of them weird-looking Yumis around this Cyrus kit. Pat, this is a little. I don't know. I'm not sure, Pat. Maybe they like the Never Fail Bunkers a little too much. Well, we're making how much off of it? Oh, all right. Never Fail Bunkers. They're just buy them. Buy lots of them. All right, got Rose Spark coming in again. I here on behalf of my boss about the bunkers and to promote a side business. Crump pink Yumis with claws. Listen, all right, this is it's a perfect opportunity for me to seem tough against the Xenos, so I'm gonna do it. Listen, Rose Spark, I'd like to see you come and try. You can't talk and threaten me on my own station. I'm gonna find this where this is being broadcast from, and I'm gonna give you a piece of my mind and show you exactly what this claw could do. What's that, Pat? What's that? The Space Marines have to go. They can't stay here. Oh, but I just was saber rattling. They gotta stay here. Oh, okay, all right. There are absolutely still Space Marines here, and they're gonna deal with any Xenos that threaten me. They sure are. Pat, can you please get them to stay? Pat, come on, I'm begging you. Oh, all right. Yes, they're totally still here. Still very much here in the Adrian Pius show. And it's not just me and my canids and Pat. So listen, getting back to kind of my final thoughts. But Vigilus is just the perfect example of Cyrus Amaniism run amok and the disaster that comes with it. And it really takes a number of chapters of Space Marines to come in and fix the problems. And last but not least, we talked a little bit about the Primarchs and the clear superiority of Leman Russ, a man's man who doesn't take no guff from nobody and doesn't hesitate to destroy the enemies of the Imperium. And he's an example that you can follow, because we're not talking about we're oh, that's a little. Pat, what are you saying? All right, we'll try to wrap this up. We'll try to wrap this up. I think we're probably going to be safe. But look, trusting in the strength of the wolves, in a large, powerful chapter who really know how to rough it, who are really men's men, that's the model of fierce independence that I want to foster in this Imperium. And it's one that runs strong through the Adrian Pius listening community. We've got another phone call. We got Lorenzo, good old friend of the show. All right, Lorenzo, you're on the air. Go for it. Think if the Emperor wanted you to know about chaos, he would have told you about chaos, but you had to go and break through the psychic barrier. That's a very good point. Look, blind obedience to the Emperor is the way out of everything. If everyone had just been blindly obedient to the Emperor and not asked questions, everything would have been fine. Magnus would have listened, everything would have been fine. Instead, Magnus, did Magnus do anything wrong? What did Magnus do right? I've said that before, and I'll say it again. What did Magnus the Red ever do right? And you know who gave him a piece of his mind? Good old Leman Russ. Broke his spine, showed him a thing or two. Burned his stupid planet. Just like he was supposed to. Just like he was told to do. Now, it turned out that particular command didn't come from the Emperor. It came from Horus. But if it had come from the Emperor, then it would have been the right thing to do. Oh, come on, get away. Stop bumping me. Sorry, canids are getting antsy. All right, so I think we're gonna wrap things up here. Remember, listeners, that whenever you think that life's getting complicated, just come up with simplified explanations for things and easy people to blame for them. because it's easy to think that the Imperial Truthers and the Cyrus Amanis of this galaxy are the real ones behind everything. Because they are. Because they are. All right, everyone. The canids are getting a little antsy. I'm going to take care of them. And we're going to be signing off here on the Adrian Pius Show. Be sure to buy plenty of Never Fail bunkers. And be sure to buy my new water filtration system. And also invest in Plasteel. Because there's no surefire way to protect the integrity of the Imperium than it is to give lots of money to me. Thank you all very much, my loyal listeners. Adrian Pius, signing off.